Hey there, this is Derek Murphy. I'm going to make a really quick video about making a Kindle table of contents for your ebook. This is something I was stuck on for the last 10 or 20 minutes or so, and I was trying to figure it out. So this is maybe not as much of a solution as kind of just something to watch out for. So the problem was I was just uploading my Word document straight into KDP because I'm kind of lazy, and it mostly looks fine as is. You can't really embed any special fonts or anything. But it looks okay. The problem was I wanted my table of contents to show up, and up here I can only see beginning cover or this NCX view. I was looking for my chapters because when you format a book in Microsoft Word, if you do it correctly and you use H1 tags for all your chapter headings, normally I'd have a lot more space up here for my formatting, but because I'm preparing this for an ebook, as you can see, I think there's too much space here, so I went back and I took out some of the space. So what I'm used to is that when I use an H1 heading tag for the styles of my chapter headings, it automatically builds a TOC into Kindle. That's why I don't like to put a TOC at the beginning of my ebooks like you would, with page numbers. For a paperback, because it's just not necessary, because once it's on a device, people don't go back to the beginning of the book and scroll this way. They would use the built-in TOC that's part of the device, and that's automatic as long as you've used these H1 tags. But I kind of freaked myself out because I didn't see the chapters up here, so I thought something had gone wrong. I made another video playing around with Kindle Create to see if that would work, and I uploaded the KPF file. Which I think actually is this one. I think this is the KPF file. And I did say that, I don't like my images because they look a little bit blurry, but I don't know if that's just the previewer, because the previewer and the look inside on KDP are not as good as what you'll actually get on a device. It's a little bit different. So I was going to ignore that for now. But I used Kindle Create because I thought it would fix this TOC problem, and it didn't. So then I started problem shooting. And basically the way that you build a table of contents, I'm going to delete this and do it again real quick just so that you know how it's done. On your blank page, you'd go up here to, you'd click on References, you'd go to Table of Contents, add an automatic table of contents, which would look like this. It took some picture from later, which is weird, but whoops. You can basically delete the things that you don't like. And if you're making your paperback, this already has the page numbers, which is awesome. I usually will try to make, ideally you'd have one file for your paperback and your ebook, because what I have done in the past is I'll, make an ebook, but then of course when you make changes later or you find typos or something, then you're updating two different files, which is stressful. So it's better to have one file. When you make a file like this in Microsoft Word, for paperback, like even if I was using my headings and my footers, which I don't think I've done yet in this file, I could do that in Microsoft Word, but when you convert it to an ebook, the headers and the footers, the page numbers, they're not going to be there anyway. But you don't want the page numbers to show up in your ebook because that's weird, because there aren't page numbers in your ebook. So I'd go back here to References again, Table of Contents. This time I would choose Manual Table. Actually, sorry, I'd go down here to Custom Table of Contents. And then here you can show page numbers or not show page numbers. That's what you actually want to do. Not show page numbers. Click OK. Replace this table of contents. These are the exact instructions that they give on Kindle, on Amazon, for you to build a table of contents. That way you have basically, I'd have to delete this again. This is just pulling from the end of my book because I'm using an H1 tag there, which I probably shouldn't. So now I would basically have just these links to the chapters, which is fine if you want to do that. Like I said, I don't actually do this because I don't like having a table of contents at the beginning of my ebook. I think it's kind of messy. I was doing it because I thought I had to do it so that it would show up in my ebook on Kindle, which surprised me because that's never been the case before. So I was gonna make this video showing you how to do this, thinking that it was the solution I was looking for. Actually, what I figured out later, and maybe this is, just me being dumb, but even though all of my chapters aren't listed here, I can go down here to the NCX view, and that shows me the table of contents as it actually will look on devices. These are the chapters that were pulled from my Word document because I use the H1 tag on my chapter headers. So this actually looks fine. This is the way that it's supposed to look. I think I'm not used to the previewer in Kindle Direct Publishing because I don't always rely on it anyway because I don't really trust it. Or they have made some updates recently, so maybe it's a little different than I remember. I'm going back to my Word document. I took out the table of contents that I had just added. This time I'm only going to use the TOC on the navigation pane because I think it's going to work. I might take out this "you might also like" because that doesn't really belong in my table of contents. Like I said, I got kind of stuck on this for a good 15 or 20 minutes or so. I'm going to go in here, just grab my Word document this time, upload it straight into Kindle. The reason is because you can't really do that much with formatting anyway. I want it to look good and clean. If you have Vellum, if you have some other process that you're comfortable with and familiar with, there are other tools that allow you some. It's always a balance between ease of use and design. And in my opinion, a lot of the tools that make it easy are also pretty limited in design. So since I can't completely customize it the way that I want to anyway, I'm just going to upload straight my, without formatting it, I just upload my Word document straight to Kindle. As long as I've done it well and I've set up everything in my Word document, it should look good. So that you don't need Kindle Create, or you don't need Vellum or Atticus, which is the new formatting tool that's coming out soon. It's not, perfect, but I've become a little bit cavalier about my formatting, especially for the EPUB. I just want to get it up and I want to make sure it looks good. So as I go back and forth, I've actually found that when I don't include a table of contents in my Word document like I just did in that last time, I don't have the option up here to see the full table of contents. I'm actually kind of skeptical. I think that if, I just publish it anyway, I think that it would actually show up on Kindle devices. But just to make sure that I, have debugged this completely, I have decided to use this version where I did put in that table of contents without page numbers like I showed you how to do. And now up here in the previewer, it shows both the table of contents and the NCX view, which has my chapters. It has 2 epilogues down here, which is weird. I'm not sure why that happened. If I go to the beginning, it should go straight into the first chapter. It didn't actually. So there's a table of contents that it's just basically a linked no page number. I did this in Microsoft Word. It converted. And you can see I only have 1 epilogue down here, so that worked fine. The spacing, everything looks good here, so I'm not worried about the actual content. I was just a little concerned about, what's going on up here. And again, this may not be exactly what it's going to look like on a Kindle device. Like I mentioned, I actually think that if I just uploaded it without that table of contents in the beginning, it would have automatically taken my table of contents or generated one for the devices. But this makes me feel a little bit safer just knowing that, for sure it's here. I'm not going to have to fix it later. This is the NCX view, and I also just wonder if there's just something buggy going on over here. But it's close enough. I think it's probably going to work. The other option was I did make a version of this in Kindle Create. I basically just opened it in Kindle Create. It says, do you want to generate a TOC from these chapters? And I clicked yes. I made another video for YouTube recently, like today, about Kindle Create because I was trying to fix this issue. So if you want to use Kindle Create, you can look for that video. This was just about, how to solve the problem of setting up a table of contents in Microsoft Word and making sure it converts well to Kindle when you're just uploading your Microsoft Word manuscript directly to Kindle without doing any special EPUB book formatting. Normally I would work a lot harder on the EPUB, on the book formatting, but it's just not really worth my time because there's not that much you can do with it anyway, as long as it, looks good and works. That's all I'm concerned with. So I'm probably just going to go ahead with this one. The KPF file that was created with Kindle Create. It used to be a Mobi file. Now they accept EPUB files. Or you can still upload a KPF file generated from Kindle Create. And if you're just formatting from scratch and you haven't done any work on your manuscript, Kindle Create's a good option. But I've already, my manuscript is already pretty much formatted because I've done a lot of the work with, first chapter, first paragraphs and body fonts and heading fonts and all that stuff. I've already done it in Microsoft Word. The only thing that would be kind of interesting in Kindle Create, you can add drop caps pretty easily, which can look kind of cool. So if you've got to have drop caps, Kindle Create allows you have to go in and highlight the first letter of the first paragraph and then click on drop cap. You'd have to do that for all your chapters, so I'd have to do it like 20 times. But that's a way to add drop caps that will look okay, because if you make drop caps in Microsoft Word and try to convert it, those aren't going to look good. I'm not going to do that right now, but I also like Vellum a lot for making drop caps, and there's some other tools that make drop caps, but it's not the end of the world not to have them. It can look really good if you do it right, but it's also really easy to make a broken ebook by trying to add drop caps or fancy stuff that doesn't look the same on all devices. I trust Kindle Preview or Kindle Create to do it pretty well. So like if I really had to format it beautifully and I wanted to add drop caps, I could use Kindle Create. But if I was gonna do that, if I really needed to, I would probably use Vellum or a more robust book formatting tool or software. Anyway, so hopefully this helps if someone else got stuck on this same problem of generating a TOC for your ebook from your Microsoft Word document. I know it's a really specific thing, but specific things are sometimes the most frustrating if you can't find any solution to them. So maybe this video will help some people. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.